So the first Democratic primary debate of the 2016 election was last night, and we're going to break it down in detail, but first, let me give you my scorecard. So the winner I had, by a wide margin actually, Lincoln Chafee. A little joke. I'm starting the show out with a little joke. Wasn't that good? No, in all seriousness, I had Bernie winning. Now, it's actually... I don't have him winning by a lot. Like, I don't think it was a crushing victory, but it's a victory nonetheless. I had Hillary in second, despite her absurd answers. Now, remember, I'm looking at this through the lens of how I think your average voter would respond to the debate, or what they felt watching the debate. Not even just necessarily your average Democratic base voter, just in general, your average voter, what they would take away. It kind of, if they're like a political know-nothing and they just go to watch the debate because they watch the debate and eventually they're going to vote in the election. So like an undecided, independent, don't care about politics kind of person. So I had Bernie winning, but not by a lot, followed by Hillary. Then I had O'Malley, even though he struck me as a classic sleazeball politician, rivaled only by the likes of Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and how he talks and how fake it is. And then it's a near tie in last, but I'm going to go with Webb in fourth and Lincoln Chafee dead last. Don't worry if you watched the entire debate and you still don't know who Lincoln Chafee is. Nobody does. Even his own family is like, who the fuck is this guy? I heard he showed up at the door and security kicked him out. And they said, Lincoln Chafee? That's not a person, that's a rash. What are you saying? So he was just an absolute mess. We'll get to some stuff on them later. Not much on them, because they're so incredibly irrelevant. But nonetheless, we'll discuss them a little bit. Now, the audience on this is crystal clear so far. So we don't have any scientific polls out yet, but we have the ones that were online, the snap polls, which took place directly after the election. People decided who they thought won. That's Bernie by a fucking landslide. Now, I'm talking land slidington. Unbelievable. So let me give you some specifics. The CNN snap poll had Bernie winning with 83%. Damn. Hillary Clinton with 12%, O'Malley with 2%, Webb with 2%, and Chafee with 1%. MSNBC had Bernie with 65%, Webb with 20% in second. That's fucking left field in my mind. Hillary with 15%, O'Malley 1%, and Chafee 1%. Time had Bernie at 54%, Webb again at 33%, randomly coming in second, and Clinton 11%. O'Malley 2% and Chafee 1%. The thing that's consistent in every single one is everybody's like, Lincoln Chafee? What the fuck? No, fuck him. Zero, we hate you. Nobody likes you. One of the polls, like the number one person, so Bernie had like 65,000 votes or something. Lincoln Chafee had 86. Oh, that's so sad. We found the Bobby Jindal of the Democratic race here. All right, did I just give you the time poll? I think I just gave you the time poll. Then the slate poll, we have Sanders 72%, crushing victory, Clinton 17%, Webb 7%, O'Malley 3%, Chafee 1%. Drudge, so flat out right wing. Like, this is far right. They had Sanders winning 54.37%. They got real detailed. Webb 25.32%. Again with Webb in second. I really don't know where people are getting that from. Clinton with 8.77%. O'Malley with 7.18%. And Chafee with 4.36%. Now, I actually have a takeaway from that as well, just the Drudge poll. Remember, we covered the story not that long ago where Bernie said, basically, of course I'm going to get some Republican votes. If I get to the general, I'm absolutely going to get Republican votes, no question about it. And the mainstream media was like, socialists getting Republican votes, don't be ridiculous. They laughed, they thought it was cute. And my takeaway from this is, if the people that go to Drudge are overwhelmingly saying Bernie won, what does that mean, guys? That means they heard what Bernie was saying and they were like, I agree with a lot of it. I want to hate him, but I agree with a lot of it. So, as Shaq said, tell me how my ass tastes. Now, the headlines are a whole nother story. This is as disheartening as it gets, in my opinion. So I just told you, according to the people, and granted it's not scientific polls, but I don't know how much that means. I still think they're pretty reliable. But the people think, okay, Bernie won in a landslide. What do all the headlines say? And what do all the mainstream media organizations say? And what are they reporting? CNN headline, quote, Clinton's confidence sweep. Come again? Clinton's confidence sweep. In order for it to be a sweep, wouldn't she have to, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Sweep? Not only did she not sweep, she didn't win in a single fucking poll that was taken after the debate. What are you saying? You can't just say shit like that. You have to have backing for it. What are you doing here? What they do is they hire people who are establishment pricks who give their opinion, and shockingly, their opinion always happens to be Hillary wins by a landslide. Slate. Hillary Clinton won. That was their title. Hillary Clinton won. Their own fucking poll had Sanders with 72%. Hillary Clinton won. Time. Quote, Clinton in control. Again, their poll had Bernie winning by a lot as well. There's no other way to describe this other than what we've been attempting to lay out here on the show the past few weeks, or actually the past few months, which is that the media has a pro-establishment bias. Now, I'm not saying they meet in the smoke-filled back room and they're like, we must support Hillary no matter what. No, it's more subtle than that. Like, the only way that you get on TV, in some of the main stations, like CNN, for example, or even like the nightly news programs, but a lot of people on MSNBC, too, they sprinkle in some progressives, but people like Chris Matthews are establishment through and through. The only way you get on there is if you fall within what's called the Overton window. For those of you who don't know what the Overton window is, it's basically this idea that there's a political spectrum and they allow dissent within the spectrum, but once you step outside of that spectrum, you're dismissed as a kook and by definition your opinion is irrelevant. So if you're somebody like Bernie Sanders who literally defended democratic socialism as he did last night, well that's outside of the realm of respectable Washington establishment bubble respectability. So we're going to have to look down on you and act like you didn't win, even if it's overwhelming that you won. So Hillary can say anything as long as she doesn't shit herself on stage. Oh, well, Hillary won because she kept it together. Even though Bernie won by a landslide according to the polls, according to the numbers. Well, I mean, Hillary won because, come on. What she's saying is more respectable and more fitting in with all the people that we know and all the people that we're friends with, all the rich bankers and all the people on Wall Street and all the heads of the corporations that we go to the same parties with and that we're members of the same country clubs. So they only hire the people who are more likely to give those opinions. Now, again, there's some people on the fringes, no doubt. People like Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow were pretty solid on many issues. But if you go too far outside of that spectrum, they just fire you. Look what happened to Ed Schultz. He speaks out against the TPP, rants against the president, and he's gone. Now, he might have had some numbers issues as well in terms of viewership, in terms of ratings. But for a long time, he had fantastic ratings, and the second the going gets tough, Morning Joe's had horrible ratings forever. They're still on the air. Why? Because they fall in line with the establishment. Ed Schultz did not fall in line with the establishment, so he's gone. And here, again, this is just a perfect example of how up the ass of Washington and how up the ass of power the media is. To the point where all the polls have Bernie Sanders winning. And it's unanimous that Hillary won. Now, understand, isn't it the role of the media to give facts? Now, I get it. If you want to have the opinion that Hillary won, fine, you can have that opinion and you can back it up and you can argue for it. I got no beefs with that whatsoever. But the main focus of what you do in the mainstream media should be delivering facts, delivering information, delivering data. At the very least, separate your two things like I just did for you here, where I told you what my debate breakdown was, and then I went to the numbers, and then I'm giving you the numbers. These guys are fucking, taking the polls and shoving them aside, and they're like, don't look at that. Here, headline, Hillary won. Don't fucking talk about Bernie Sanders anymore. What do you want me to say? Shut up, shut up, shut up. So again, it's not a conspiracy. It's just the way the system is designed and the way it's geared and the direction it points in, it's to hire people who are part of that inner circle and who aren't going to step outside of that Overton window. So you're not going to get people in the mainstream supporting somebody like Ron Paul, for example, when he ran, or somebody like Bernie Sanders now. And it's unfortunate because that media narrative might have a disastrous effect. I mean, we saw this. Remember the first debate, Palin versus Biden? Palin didn't cry and run off the stage, so people go, oh, she did well. She may have won. It's because the expectations were so fucking low to begin with. That they're like, okay, we're going to say that she won even though Biden fucking crushed her. Same thing with the Bush and Gore debates back in the day. You know, Bush was able to string a coherent sentence together, so they were like, well, I mean, come on, it's like a handicap system. He's got really low expectations. He surpassed those expectations. So even though Gore was, you know, spewing facts, that's irrelevant. He didn't win the debate. We're just going to talk about how great George W. Bush is and how much he won. The media narrative can unfortunately have a disastrous effect on everybody's psychology, and it might make people go, well, I'm not going to hop on a sinking ship and vote for Bernie when everybody's telling me Hillary won. There are people out there who are not as big of political junkies as you and me, so that narrative might affect them more. And it's unfortunate, because what we're seeing here is just a clear example of why they suck. This is why they suck. I was just tweeting at them before I came on air. I thank them. I said, thank you for being so pathetic at your job that you've made it that a guy like me can have 197,000 followers on YouTube. You know, I'm not the best at what I do here. The production value sucks balls. But I'm saying something that's actually backed up by evidence, so people go, I trust that guy way more than I trust the, you know, multi-million-dollar budgets of companies like CNN and other companies, which seemingly are just giving me vacuous nonsense all day long. So there's my debate breakdown. I personally think Bernie won, but not by a lot. But the people are clear on this. Bernie won by a mile, but the establishment is saying Hillary won, and there can be devastating consequences to that.